Y'all want to see Jaden Smith talk about the political and economic state of the world right now?
Before the action starts, we see Will Smith get yeeted out of a plane for his behavior at the Oscars. A millennium ago, a group named the United Ranger Corps evacuated the population to save humanity from the impending destruction of Earth. The URC found a settlement on a planet called Nova Prime. There they met aliens that had sweat-sniffing monsters named Ursa, which hunt humans by smelling pheromones released when afraid. This new threat almost wiped out the remaining humans, but Cypher Raige learned how to fight the Ursa, basically becoming invisible to Ursa due to braveness. This method is called ghosting. At Nova Prime, the Rangers are running when Cadet Kitai decides to be an icon and runs in front of the team. The other Rangers were kinda annoyed by it. At the base, Commander Velen calls Kitai to assess his training. He tells Kitai that even though he's book smart, he cannot rank up to a proper Ranger because he is still weak. Kitai tries to use his Nepo powers to convince Valen that he should promote him because his father's coming home. The alopecious commander decides to fail him anyway. At home, Kitai eats dinner with his family. Cypher asks him about Kitai's promotion, but he said he failed. He tries to flex his sprint records, surpassing his father, but it doesn't matter because he's still a failure. Cypher says Kitai still needs to learn.
Check it on. Check it off.
After dinner, Cypher informs Faya that he will retire on his next mission to have more time with his family. Faya tells him that Kitai needs him as a father, not a commanding officer. She knows that Kitai is still carrying the burden of his sister's death and continues to blame himself. So Cypher tells Kitai that he will join his last mission. The next day, a one-legged ranger approaches to thank Cypher for saving his life. Mr. IHOP salutes Cypher. The ship flies to Aphidos for their training mission. The crew sleeps for a while since the travel to Aphidos is 7 hours. Unable to sleep, Kitai wanders around the ship and enters a restricted area. An officer informs him that this location is only for authorized personnel, but his Nepo status makes him get noticed and is able to bypass protocol. In front of him is a shell cage containing a Ursa. The sergeant persuades him to try to get closer to the Ursa to know if he can also ghost like his father. While getting closer to Ursa, he remembers his sister at a time when the Ursa attacked their settlement. When he got too close, the Ursa reacts and it scares him. Cypher wakes up and notices the vibrations on the walls of the ship. Looking for Kitai, he enters the room and orders the officer to go to their posts. He tells Kitai to put his seatbelt on. At the captain's cockpit, Cypher predicts that there is an incoming asteroid storm and warns the pilot. The pilot is skeptical of this claim since it is rare. Suddenly, a mass explosion erupts in the horizon. Millions of asteroids fly and bombard the ship. Cypher orders to use wormhole travel without confirmation from the headquarters. They escape, but the ship sustains massive damage. The pilot looks for the closest planet to land, but this planet is registered as a dangerous location. Because the ship is far too damaged, they're forced to land on this planet. Kitai is having an anxiety attack, and Cypher encourages him to calm his tits. Due to the damage of the ship, parts of it break down and yeet Cypher into the air. Then the ship crashes on the unknown planet. Kitai wakes up to the ruins of the ship. He starts to look for survivors. Luckily, he finds his dad. Cypher tells him to get the emergency beacon to contact their HQ, but it's damaged. So they need to get the other beacon on the other side of the ship, which is 100 kilometers away. Since Cypher's legs are broken, Kitai has to go on a fetch quest. Cypher provides Kitai with the needed equipment so that Cypher can see what Kitai sees. Then he warns Kitai that they're actually on planet Earth and everything has evolved to kill humans. After Kitai leaves, Cypher releases the drones to locate the Ursa, which he fears might have lived from the fall. While monitoring the drones, Cypher notices a quick-moving entity towards Kitai. A baboon appears and Cypher tells Kitai to calm down. But Kitai decides to throw a stone at Trump, so the baboon and its homies decide to attack Kitai. He's a runner, he's a track star. Kitai reaches a river that cuts off the baboons. And once again, he gets a panic attack that Cypher has to coach him down on. An infection warning appears on Cypher's monitor. A leech clings to Kitai's left hand that infects him. He starts to panic and his vision starts to blur due to the infection. Cypher instructs him on how to administer the antitoxin injection. Due to the infection, he loses sensation in his hand, and his face is starting to look like Chris Rock's after he got slapped at the Oscars. He falls to the ground to inject the second dosage and faints. Cypher wakes Kitai because the temperature starts to rapidly decrease, but there's a hot spot 10 kilometers away, so he needs to run quickly. Upon reaching the hot spot, Kitai checks his equipment and sees that 2 of the breathing fluids are destroyed, leaving him only 2 remaining vials, which is not enough for the journey. He decides to lie to not disappoint his father. At night, Kitai wakes his father up to ask how he learned ghosting. Cypher remembers the day when he was face-to-face with the Ursa and about to die. His option was to be afraid or learn to control his emotions, and we know how good Will Smith is at controlling his emotions. The next day, Kitai continues the journey when he sees a dead monkey in a tree. At shore, Cypher sees a pile of dead monkeys through the drones, and he thinks it was Ursa. Upon reaching the falls, Cypher finds out that there are only 2 remaining vials, which are not enough for the journey. Reanalyzing the route, the computer shows that there is another route in which 2 vials will work, but Kitai has to dive from the cliff to the ground. This worries Cypher, so he orders Kitai to abort the mission. Kitai remembers the day when he saw his sister die from a Ursa. Kitai confronts his father about his lack of trust and that he sees him as a coward for not being able to help his sister. And Jaden gives a performance of his lifetime. It ain't very good, though. The frustration leads him to jump from the cliff to shorten the trip. It activates his suit for gliding. Out of nowhere, a large bird pursues to attack him. He tries to use the waterfall to lose the bird, but after crashing into the waterfall, he loses sight of the bird. Suddenly, the bird is in front of him, knocking him out. Kitai wakes up with a chick nibbling his ear. After waking up, a group of tigers are approaching the nest. A tiger enters the nest to attack the chick, but he protects the chicks. He uses his spear to deflect the tiger's attack, while Mama Bird is fighting the other tigers outside. Another tiger is about to attack when he notices a soft part of the nest. When the tiger lunges, he jumps and attacks the ground to open up a hole where the tiger falls. The Mama Bird sees that he helped her, but grieves the death of her chicks. At the ship, Cypher is using the drones to locate Kitai when he detects a sign of a Ursa. It's an image of 2 guys impaled to a tree, which is usual Ursa behavior. This makes him worried. Losing contact with his son, he records a message for his wife, who is probably in an entanglement right now. In the jungle, Kitai continues with the journey and goes to a cave to spend the night. He recalls the directions given by Cypher and lays out a plan for his travel. The next morning, he leaves the cave. Losing his breath, he takes the remaining vial and creates a raft to traverse the river. He falls asleep on the raft. The spirit of his sister visits him in his dream to have a heart-to-heart talk with him. He asks her why she couldn't ghost, but she's literally a ghost right now. His sister tells him to wake up because the frost is closing in. The extreme cold drains his consciousness, but a mysterious entity drags his body. He wakes up covered with leaves and branches, with the Mama Bird protecting him from the cold. Unfortunately, protecting him costs the bird's life. On the grass, he sees a ship's debris, which prompts him to climb the tree to inspect the surroundings. He locates the tail location and gets a vial to continue breathing. After getting a weapon and equipment, he sees that the cage of the Ursa was broken and its body is nowhere to be found. He finds a device to contact his dad and locates the emergency beacon. On the ship, Cypher's situation continues to worsen. Kitai calls Cypher, but Kitai cannot hear Cypher's message due to the electronic interference. The lack of communication and the Ursa's presence worry Kitai. He tries to use the emergency beacon, but the interference is blocking the signal. By observing the atmosphere, he realizes that he needs to reach the peak of the volcano to bypass the interference. On his trek to the volcano, he sees the carcass of an impaled man in a tree. This triggers his fear, which activates his pheromones, making him visible to the Ursa. At the foot of the volcano, Kitai rushes up. His suit turns black, which means a moving entity is close, adding to his terror. He enters the cave system to hide from the Ursa. A droplet of saliva falls on top of him, and the Ursa appears above. He uses the tight spaces of the cavern to dodge the attacks from the Ursa. After getting acidic spit on him, he falls down into an opening to the cave, dropping him into a lake. He follows the light, leading him to an opening to climb out. Unfortunately, the Ursa follows him from the water and tries to bite his legs. About to fall, he uses the weapon to stick to the rocks and stabilize his position. He manages to climb up the cave and activate the emergency beacon. The Ursa climbs out of the cave. Able to grab his leg, the Ursa flings him around, hurting him badly. This leads him to remember the memories of his sister's death from a Ursa attack. He starts to hear his father's words about grounding. Feeling the blood in his hand, he starts to learn how to control his fear. Suddenly, the Ursa loses its visual of Kitai. He stands up to face and attack the Ursa, and the Ursa cannot properly fight back since it cannot see him. He jumps on its back, stabbing its back fat. The Ursa tries to go to the cliff, but Kitai delivers the final blow, stopping the monster's movements. On the ship, Cypher's condition worsens. The voice of the fight wakes up Cypher, and he starts to see his son learn how to ghost. After the fight, he loses consciousness. Kitai's shirt goes back to white, indicating that there are no moving objects close to him. He picks up the emergency beacon and fires it to call for help. After getting rescued, Kitai sees Cypher surrounded by a group of medics. His father raises his hand to move one of the medics to see Kitai. Out of respect, Cypher asks the medics to help him so he can salute Kitai. Kitai walks towards his father to embrace him. The ship flies out of Earth and they go home. This movie was made by M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong. And I swear movies like these are worse than Tubi because all that budget and star power for what? You got the budget and you can't even make a good film. At least Tubi producing memes. What did y'all think of this one?
If you like this video, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications because YouTube isn't recommending my videos. And if you would like to watch more foolishness, click here or here.